All right, Steve. Let's talk Zuffa Boxing and let's talk expansions because, we're getting to that time where the world of boxing is heating up and Zuffa's going to have to start making some announcements. We've got fights with them coming up. They've got the Conor Ben thing coming up. And if Conor wins this, which we all kind of agree that, he should, and there's going to be big plans because they've got a new deal in for Skynet, Sky Sport.
Sky Sports, not Skynet. That's Terminator.
Whatever. Listen, I don't trust any of you over there. But they're going to have to start going after some guys, and there are some big name free agents out there. I'd like to get your idea of who you think, because I've got some ideas of who I think Zuffa could go after. Who do you think is top of their list right now? And why?
Well, Alexander Usyk, after he finishes his retirement, because I'm still stuck in this legend situation. So Usyk for the legends, Terence Crawford for the legends. This is definitely. I think I've been saying this. I've been ballyhooing this for months. But definitely Usyk, and to do the legend stuff, and then you bring people to him. You bring the Bum of the Month club to him, and more than that, Shannon Briggs can come out and do that. He'll fight anybody. He can come out.
Yes, he will. Yes,
big baby with his wig, a big perm, perhaps a big perm, and then
we could give fight 51 from Derek Chisora.
No, Derek Chisora is an interesting one because Derek Chisora, and I think this is a great idea. He said apparently he's asked Dana White if he could be involved in Zuffa Boxing in a promotional role. Now, they need a hype man because Dana's not doing a very good job of it. Dana's all business and he's tough, and people think he's a bad guy because he's so tough.
And if they're going to England, and if they're going to be doing that, and if they're going to be, you know why? Because, DAZN seems to be leaning heavy on Fabio Wardley being their heavyweight guy from there when they're doing this. So why not? And Derek Chisora is a way better character. What a great character he would be for Zuffa. That's a fantastic idea. I commend that idea, Derek. It absolutely should be that way. Now, but let's talk about guys that are available now and guys that are out there to get on TV. I think one of the biggest ones that you have to look, because you have to look out for the guys that you've signed as well. So who are you going to get? They're going to be compelling fights because you're seeing that there's some backlash and there's some resistance from other sanctioning bodies on this. So you're going to have to kind of pick up your own stuff. Your guys that you got to take care of is Jai Opetaia, for sure. Conor Ben, for sure. Right. And obviously Callum Walsh, for sure. Right. I think at cruiserweight, I think a guy that they pick up to make the fight that they've been calling for the longest time that was supposed to happen is Noel Mikhailian. Right? Or Mikhailian. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I keep thinking Michelinas, like he's the inventor of frozen foods or something like that. Hey, Michelina. Okay. Listen, and it's an easy one. That's a layup for Zuffa. His promoter now is currently Don King. And I think that, the way that Don King has handled his career up to this point, he's probably looking for something a little bit better. They're just trying to figure out how you get out of one of those Don King contracts, I'm sure. Hey, Adrian Broner, how you doing today? Anyways, I think that that's a guy that you pick up at cruiserweight for him. Who else?
Well,
cruiserweight's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. The person making a lot of noise but not got that name recognition is Chris Billam-Smith.
Yeah,
but he's making a lot of noise and he's an honest guy. You're going to get a good fight out of him. He doesn't beat Jai Opetaia at all. It's a one-shot deal. You need more cruiserweights there for him to come in at the top, maybe try Jai, get beaten up and lose, and then start to do some work within that cruiserweight. But you need more dudes in there for that.
Yeah. I think Ryan Rozicki is a great name. He would be a
Yeah.
fantastic addition. And I think that the timing is short. Hell, I even think that I could see Zuffa Boxing going back and signing for a one-off for whatever reason, Badu Jack. Because Badu Jack still has enough of a name recognition where you can get another fight out of him. I think that that's a great acquisition of cruiserweight too. If you move down to welterweight, now this is that Conor Benn stuff. Now we start opening up to people, because this is really kind of like the meat and potatoes. Generationally, you have divisions, you know as well as I do, and you know what I'm saying here, Steve, that are better generationally than they are at sometimes. Like, for example, when Alexander Usyk was fighting at cruiserweight, the cruiserweights that we had were way different than the cruiserweights that we have now. You talk about the big four, the Duran, the Sugar Ray Leonard, the Marvin Hagler. You talk about that era, that boxing era was way different than what we have now. But I think that this welterweight era that we have right now is special. And I think that some of the fighters that we have are really special. And I think that there's a lot of underrated fighters that Zuffa could really benefit from. One, Ernesto Mercado, who just became a free agent as well. I think that is a very interesting fighter that you could bring in there to fight guys like a Conor Benn, to fight guys like, I'm going to say it, Ryan Garcia. That's another name that I think that you see in the mix here on a Zuffa card before the end of 2026.
Yes, if he gets that fight with Devin Haney done, which apparently he will, in September, I'm hearing. So if he gets that fight done, and whether he wins or loses, he's the kind of guy who, like Conor Benn, will say, "See ya, I've already won a belt. I don't need this anymore. Now it's about the money and the brand. See ya." So yeah, I can see him definitely in Zuffa.
I also think that somebody like Richardson Hitchens is on the table for something like this. And he's an Eddie Hearn guy who just came back. They just had their reconciliation. So that would be a very hot one for Dana White as well, to fuel that fire some more. My question with all of this, though, is that no matter who they sign, no matter who Zuffa signs, let's say that they sign somebody who happens to have a belt. Let's say they sign somebody who happens to have a WBA, WBC, IBF, IBO, one of these belts, and they've got to fight Conor Benn for this belt. And the sanctioning body then says, no, not going to happen. Do we see an instance where we saw with the heavyweight division where they say, if you don't let him fight for that belt, I'm going to sue you? And now all of a sudden the sanctioning bodies have to play ball because their champion is signed with this promotional company called Zuffa Boxing.
You absolutely do. And I mean, everything's febrile up in the air at the moment, isn't it? And sanctioning bodies are saying, we're taking, we'll make our moves and we'll take our belt away, Jai. And we'll strip you of that belt as well, Jai. But yes, if you say, well, he's with us now, so are you going to strip him of the belt? And you've got very few people left. Because actually, if you say, well, he's with us now, and we've actually also got a few of the other people who are in your top 10 for that weight class. And who have you got? Somebody that nobody wants to see? Fighting somebody nobody wants to see? What are you doing? It's half the money that you would have got. So why don't you do some business with us? Yeah. I mean, I don't know, though, how fruity and excitable they want their signings to be. Thinking about, Ryan Garcia, who's unpredictable. And someone also like Ben Whittaker, who is, he's got to be cheesed off. He's got to be, because nothing's happening with him. Well, he's got to fight soon, but we don't know who. Nothing's really happening with him at Matchroom. And also Willie Hutchinson, who is the new Whittaker, who is just someone who's lovely, but who can lead your brand for his weight class. Something like that. You need those people at the top to say we've got some people you wouldn't recognise, but when Willie talks about them, when Ben talks about them, you start to listen. So that's what they need here. They're going to have to upset and ruffle some feathers, both of Matchroom and Queensberry, to get those. And Matchroom might say, oh no, oh mate, apples and pears, whistle and flew. Oh, I'm really upset. But Warren will say, see you in court, mate.
Yeah. Well, listen, Zuffa is the fox in the hen house. Let's put it that way. They are the fox in the hen house, and feathers are going to get ruffled. And I am excited to see who they pick up. I'm very excited to see who they pick up.
I mean, I'm the most exciting one for me is Shannon Briggs, obviously. So, you know, expect that coming in very, very soon. Can I ask you, would Manny Pacquiao go to a Legends division at Zuffa?
Absolutely he would. And you know why he would? Because he owes so much money in taxes. That's exactly why he would. He's got people that he's got to pay. You know, he's got his own promotion now that he's got to run. He's got his own son that he's going to have to pay soon to fight somewhere else out of sight of that promotion too. So, like, yeah, absolutely Manny Pacquiao would do that. And I think that that would be a fantastic fit inside of a Legends division. I also think that Oscar De La Hoya versus Dana White would be one hell of an exhibition fight. If we're going to do exhibition fights inside of Zuffa, I think that is fantastic. I think that, I think that Eddie Hearn versus Dana White. I mean, listen, if the boxers won't sign with Zuffa, I think that Dana's got enough meat and enough enemies on the table that he could probably fight at least once a month on his own. You know what I mean? And make it worthwhile for the rest of us. Listen, I'm excited. I don't know about you, Steve, but I'm excited to see what happens here with all of this stuff. Anything else before we wrap this whole thing up?
Yes, here's a hot take. Frank Smith, Matchroom head honcho to Zuffa. I wouldn't be surprised. That would be an enormous dick move for Zuffa.
You know, you bring up an excellent point. When everybody's looking at all of the fighters, the people that do the real business for these promotional companies are the guys in the office. And by saying that you're stealing somebody from the office over there, that is brilliant. That is a brilliant move, Steve. And that is why you are Steve Swift. That is why this is the Bees of Boxing. And that is why everybody is ripping off your shit. It happens. It happens. I mean, a lot of things happen.
When it comes to the children, Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
I thought I got away with it.
You were close.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Steve. I'm Chris. And if you're out there and you're in this fight, remember, life's coming at you hard. So tuck your chin.